Right, okay, so this morning I'm going to show you how I feed my produce through the Optimum 600, because I know some people seem to be having challenges with it clogging, and I've been using mine since November. So the first juice up is actually a double quantity, so this should hopefully make a litre. It's 4 pears, 80 grams of spinach, some parsley, a cucumber, a stick of celery, quarter of a lemon, and then it's blended with half an avocado. I used to start off by putting things through whole. Cucumber I found causes me an issue if I put it through whole, so I chop it into chunks, and the same with celery. My pears, all I've done is literally taken the tops off and just halved them. They're quite firm as well, because I found if they're really soft they tend to be a bit mushy. So anyway, here we go. I usually start off with something soft, and I tend to let the produce go all the way through before I put the next thing in. If you've got hard produce in your juice, it's good to alternate with soft and hard. Just my leaves going in. Very rarely use the tamper, only just to sort of move things down the chute if they get a bit stuck. I like to leave the tap closed so that the juice is mixed together, and then just let it out every so often. Put another bit of pear through, just drag those spinach leaves through. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit of pulp around the top here, but not a massive amount, and that will get pushed through as a harder produce goes through. See, the lemon's taken that through now. And my pulp's moving out quite quickly as well, so tend to watch the produce, and once it sort of gets below that first spiral on the auger, that's when I'll drop the next bit in. Lemon. I leave the skin on my lemons, that's down to personal choice obviously. These are my little bits of cucumber. Celery. I tend to cut mine up quite small because just again, sometimes celery can cause an issue because of the strings on the fibre. That's a lot of the leaves going through. I've got some cucumber left still, so I think I'll put that through next. generally, when I put the last bit of produce through, which was just gone through with the last of the leaves, is I just let it run for a little while, either until the juice stops coming out. As you can see, I've got rather a full jug, so I'm going to have to stop that anyway, or the pulp stops coming out of the pulp chute. At the moment it's still moving through. So that's the first juice done, which is the pear, spinach, parsley, cucumber, celery, lemon, and then I'm going to blend that with an avocado. Okay, so I've finished the first juice. I'm now on to the second juice. As you can see, I haven't cleaned the juicer. I've got another green juice going through. The only tip I'd give you with this, with not cleaning the juicer in between, is you could either flush some water through, if you don't want the juices to taste them. To be honest with you, it doesn't really bother me. The only time I've noticed that there's an issue with it is obviously if you put something through beetroot and then you want a green juice, it comes up as a sort of muddy colour, which isn't really attractive to look at. So the next juice is a half a head of romaine lettuce, 2 apples, half a cucumber, 2 sticks of celery, half a lime and ginger. So I am going to put through my cucumber first, probably on this one. And again, because this is another green juice, doesn't really matter that it's mixing with the stuff that was in before. I leave my skin on my limes, personal preference again, so you don't have to. Give that a little bit of help. As you can see, I'm not putting any pressure on that plunger. I just let it sort of push the produce down by its own weight. Bits of ginger. I don't peel my ginger, again it's up to you whether you decide to do that or not. As you can see, my pulp's still coming through quite nicely. It's obviously now not using the full width of the tube that's coming out, which is showing obviously there's some sign of a bit of a backup of pulp maybe. Few bits of celery. Apples I always chop in half. And I use Golden Delicious, so quite often they're too big to go in the chute anyway. Bit of cucumber, bit of celery, just to sort of push that apple through. Again, when you see me pushing on that tamper, I'm not putting any pressure on it, I'm literally just touching it to move it down so it just holds the apple in place so that the auger can get it, and then once it starts, take it straight out. Last bits of celery going into that juice. I tend to clear this pulp tube out as it goes. It looks like it's sort of getting a bit stuck. And again, let it run just to take the last bit of produce through. If you want, you can always do the reverse, and if there's any pulp stuff, it'll bring that up anyway. As you can see, it didn't really bring anything up on mine. So that's juice number 3. Okay, so juice number 4 coming up now. What I have done between filming was just run a glass of water through the juicer just to sort of clean it through a bit, because I'm going through with sweet potato and pineapple next. I didn't really want the sort of green juice flavour. So I've got in my bowl a sweet potato, quite a large one, chopped up, half a pineapple, half a lemon and some ginger. Now, pineapple is one of the things that I know people have notorious problems with the Optimum 600. I tend to cut mine up into chunks, and I use the skin as well. I tend to cut the skin off and juice the chunks with no skin, and then use the skin to sort of sweep through. So, and because I've got sweet potato, I can use that in between as well as the hard root veg to push the pulp through. Oh. I also, when I ran the water through, I did use the hook on the end of the cleaning brush just to clean out this pulp tube as well. You know, give it every opportunity you can to function properly. So as you can see, what I'm doing is sort of alternating. Got a bit of ginger in here somewhere that's going through as well. So you can see we've got quite a bit of pulp here now, so what I'm going to do is just let that push through before I put anything else down. And I will probably put down something hard next to try and push that round through as well. There we go. So lemon, again skin on with my lemons, only if they're unwaxed obviously. So yes, I mean it does take longer to use an Optimum 600 or a masticating juicer than it does a centrifugal juicer. But having had both, I much prefer to use this type of juicer because the juice just tastes better for a start, and also you seem to get more juice from the produce. Not markedly more, but you know, enough that I noticed it. And also you don't get the separation that you do with the centrifugal juicers. With the Optimum 600, what I tend to do is I've taken to doing 2 lots of juice at a time, 2 days worth of juice at a time, so that's 8 juices, and I don't get any separation on them over sort of 24-48 hours. And I kind of like that. The only other tip I'd give people is if you don't like pulp in your juice, because a lot of people don't like the pulp, sometimes I will sieve the juices. Once they've gone through, I'll put a sieve over a jug and just pour the juice through a sieve to get the pulp out, because sometimes you just like that kind of clean tasting juice rather than the bits in it. But again, it's individual taste, isn't it? As you can see, there's probably quite a lot of this coming out. I thought this was only going to make me 500 mils, but we look like we're over that already. It was quite a big sweet potato. Works well in my house because I've got 3 children, all of who will drink extra juice, so you can see what I've done with the skin of the pineapples. I've taken it off and left a little bit of the flesh on, but not a massive amount. The other thing with pineapples is I try and store mine in the fridge because I find that if they're cold, they're firmer going through the juicer. And also, I try and juice them before they get too ripe, because once they become really soft and overripe, then yeah, they can cause problems blocking the screen. It's the same with pears. Anything that's sort of overripe and a bit soft will present you with some challenges. Not to say it won't work, but that's the last bit of the sweet potato going through. So we've still got a bit of pulp coming out. As you can see, there's a little bit around the top, but not to the point where it's backing up the tube. If I reverse motor, you can see a bit comes up, but not a great deal. And I've still got some juice dripping through, so I'll just let that finish. So that's the Optimum 600, and I've made 4 500ml, in fact this is probably more than 500ml, juices in one go without dismantling or having to clean the juicer. What I'll do now, so if I get rid of that pulp, move this out of the way. If I dismantle, I mean, I know there's going to be some pulp in here. You can see I've got the pulp, a little bit of pulp in the chute there. Try and do this without knocking my jug of juice over. Move that out of the way. Wiggle the top off. Take the auger out. So yes, I have got some pulp around here. But if I'd have pushed that through with a bit of water, that would have washed through lovely. And there is some on the inside of the sieve as well. But again, if I'd have put that through with a bit of water at the end, which is what I normally do, or a bit of coconut water, then that would have pushed that through. But it's not to the point where there's so much in there that it's not going to function. And you can see then the pulp tube there. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Happy juicing.